A few of you guys said that I didn't actually mention apps in my streamer shootout video that I did, or didn't mention them that much, which to be honest I think is fair dues, good constructive criticism, which I actually agree with. So in this part 2 video I decided to make another video just concentrating on the apps that these streamers use, or the best ones that you might want to consider using. I'm a massive Apple fan, so I use iPads, iPhones and MacBooks, or one MacBook rather, and I do have a fast Windows editing PC as well, but I mainly use in my videos Apple products for streaming interfaces, and in this video that's what I'm going to be doing as well, although most apps are Android capable. Another reason, I just bought this brand new iPad Pro, so it would be rude not to, really. So I'm showing here WinMini's app, which is remarkably similar to Auralics 4Stream app, except that the 4Stream app doesn't have a search tab at the bottom. So you'll notice that you've got a selection of buttons for your library, My Music, and your home music server is where your NAS sits. And then if you scroll down, a series of apps which are actually selectable in the Manage Services tab. Obviously these apps are actually running within the WinMini app, so they're playing the content natively, except Spotify, which doesn't run within the app, it just takes you to open the Spotify app itself. Obviously remember the WinMini does Spotify Connect and Tidal Connect. At the bottom you'll see you've got your source selection tabs, so Wi-Fi, Bluetooth or auxiliary in. Remember, auxiliary in, if you're sending music from say a CD player, you can stream that round to all your other WinMinis that you have. If you click on the device tab at the bottom, it takes you to all the WinMinis that are available. You can link them together, and then the search tab, which is obviously self-explanatory. Then if you click on settings, you've got all the things like user manuals, feedback and so on. Pressing back to the device tab, you'll see a whole host of settings for each player. And if you click on audio settings, you'll notice you've got the ability to set fixed or variable volume output, depending on whether you're using it to a DAC or whether you're using it maybe to powered speakers. But you can actually set the volume level output, which is a nice handy feature if you're trying to volume match between devices. So if you go back into the main settings tab for the device and then select audio output, it's here where you can change between SPDIF optical output, analog auxiliary output or Bluetooth. Again, going back to the device tab and hitting the pair button at the top, which is a little link button, you can select to add devices together at this point. Obviously at the moment I've only got one streamer in the list, but you'll see more than one if there are more than one. And to see your NAS drive music, if you hit the Home Music Server tab, find your NAS drive, then Music, then if you hit Albums or whatever selection you want to make, you've got all your choices there. So this is a kind of slimmed down version of the WinMini app. The layout is basically the same as before, and you can find your NAS also like you did before with playlist functionality as well. The source selections are in the same place, and the same ability as well is there to link players like you did with the Wim and Auralic apps. But one of the features it doesn't have that the WinMini app does, which I didn't mention before incidentally, is the ability to make sound quality EQ adjustments. Although having said that, Octavio did actually tell me that they are in the process of updating their app. The reason I think BlueOS is probably second only to Roon is because this app has the most streaming service integration that you'll find, or pretty much the most, and it's very fast navigating between albums with its high resolution artwork. You've got the MQA Radio Paradise streaming service as the second reason, which is free if you have a Bluesound product, and Bluesound were also doing live MQA music streams a while back. The third reason is that you can pass through MQA in the app, so if you have a BlueOS player it processes the MQA for your MQA compatible DAC. You know, some people believe in MQA, and even if you don't, the fact that more music is encouraged by different quality levels is always a plus. The fourth reason is tweakability. So like the Win Mini app, it's got preset functionality, so you can store playlists to a preset for instant playback, say on the Bluesound Node's top pad controls. But depending on the player, there is more adjustability of sound quality settings in the app than most streamers. Also, Bluetooth integration is two-way, which I think Wim have done now as well. So it means that you can say send music from a phone to your Bluesound player and from the player to, say, a pair of Bluetooth headphones. The fifth reason is the Roon style interface, where you can tap on info at the playback screen. It's very intuitive, giving you more information about the album and artists, and sometimes letting you link to YouTube clips of videos of that particular artist. So all of these streamers in this super test that I've done can be used in Roon. The ultra budgets I showed in my original video can be used as AirPlay endpoints as well, remember, because AirPlay does Roon, or Roon does AirPlay. The DAC32 is the Squeezebox capable device of all these streamers, but you can use it in Roon as well as an AirPlay device, and it might not be the most popular software that you can use. I think it used to be more in fashion a while ago, but that's besides the point because it's still AirPlay capable. And if you think about it, AirPlay or around CD quality into most decent DACs is probably all you need anyway, or pretty much all you need. But it's the Bluesound Node, Argon Audio Solo and Primer MP5 that are all Roon ready, which is obviously meaning that you get the benefit of Roon's native high resolution sample rates that it uses from what it's called its RAT, R-A-A-T protocol. I'm not going to bore you with full details about Roon, and I'll refer you to my video that I've made on Roon. I go through things like settings, the magazine style interface, how to use it, and of course things like Roon Radio, which when you consider all of that, the way it's laid out, the way you can find music, the Roon Radio that points you towards music, and for me, it's probably the most intuitive software at doing that for my musical taste. It just seems to find me loads of stuff. I think it's probably the best software for audiophiles that you can get. It's kind of really the granddaddy of audiophile music software, and okay, some people might moan at it, it's pricey. That was originally my view as well. When you think the price that we spend on some of this stuff, it's just a small proportion of that really. That's why I would recommend it, and I would heartily try it if you haven't done so before. All of these streamers in this test are probably best controlled with Roon. You can use the Argon Audio Solo with BitPerfect clients like JRiver or Audivana, obviously AirPlay and Roon 2, or other DLNA apps like Bubble UPnP or mConnect. But don't cast it out just because it doesn't have its own inherent app. I'm planning on covering this streamer in more detail in a bespoke video, so I'll go over the best possible interfaces then. You obviously select your device when you open up the app, and then you'll notice at the top you've got 5 tabs: Source, Queue, Playlist, Zone and Settings. So if you click on Cast Services, you'll see a list of apps you can use Chromecasting with. Obviously you don't use it within the app, but they're pointing you towards apps that you then can Chromecast to your Prime Air with. You've got tab under Source for radio, so you can play radio stations, internet radio stations. These are local ones. If you press local music, it gives you a list of all the local music that's on your device. This is obviously what I've got on my iPad. Some of it I don't even know who these people are. Obviously you can tell that I don't store much stuff on my iPad. Anyway, if you click on USB, that enables you to play music off a hard drive that you've got plugged into the back of the MP5 via the USB socket, obviously. I haven't got anything plugged in here, so that's why there's nothing showing up. And then if you press Settings on the Settings tab and then press App Settings, you can add your media server, your DLNA NAS drive. This is my MyBook Live drive, so it should show up in the Source tab. And also you can add music services here, Tidal, Qobuz. So these actually add these apps in the Prisma app, but they don't allow you to play Tidal or Qobuz straight from the app. They essentially open up the Tidal or Qobuz apps, and then you can Chromecast or AirPlay music to the MP5. Remember that AirPlay's maximum quality is 48 kHz 16-bit, and Chromecasting is up to 96 24-bit. If you click on the audio settings, there's settings for the output, balance, which some hard of hearing people actually like. I get comments on my channel to that extent. And there's obviously settings for default volume, maximum volume, so you're not gonna finger smash out your speakers by swiping too much. The RS232 link is to enable the MP5 to be linked to other Primaire gear so you can share functionality. And then there's settings for Bluetooth and AirPlay. And if you go back to Source and then click on the music library and down arrow, you'll see where your media server is. As I say, click on Tidal, it says it wants to open the app so you can then Chromecast or AirPlay to it. I was playing a bit of Beethoven's funeral marches. I know that sounds really somber, but I went to the Queen's funeral procession a couple of days ago, and you know when you listen to music and it's a profound event and it sticks in your mind and it makes the music more powerful, you want to listen to it more. I think that's what was going on there. It was just really, really mind-blowing, the amount of love that was in London that day. The flowers in Green Park, the guns going off in Hyde Park, the Queen's procession on massive screens everywhere, everyone in a national mood. Lovely lady, and yeah, just a day that we're going to remember forever. Obviously you've got a queue tab that shows you what's playing, and then you've got playlists, so you can select and choose playlists, and then a zone tab, because you can obviously use more of these streamers and you can link them together, release them from a group. And yeah, I mean, overall, it's a nicely laid out app. It's not, there's nothing, you know, there's nothing austere about it. It's actually quite easy to use. The Prisma app isn't anywhere near as good as Roon, Audiovana or BlueOS. And surprisingly, it's not in the same league of Wim's app too, considering the MP5 costs 5 times as much. But it does work as a nice bridging app between other native apps like Qobuz, or if you're using Roon. It's almost impossible to review apps because there are so many variables, and your decision might hinge on something that's just personal to you. You've really got to suck and see to work out which one is best for you. So whatever, my advice would be to get out there and try as many as you possibly can. Some of them are free, some of them you have to buy, but hopefully this video has given you some food for thought on what to look out for.